it's been pretty interesting watching this Berserker campaign grow. It's at $684,000 right now, which is a lot of money. Over 6,000 backers. The shipping, and this is ridiculous, by the way. You can get this on Amazon, I hear. And the singles are going to comic book shops. But it doesn't really matter. The thing that I like about this is that it shows that there's a lot of people that are interested in comic books. A lot of people are interested in comic books. And that's why I don't get why the mainstream professionals are so upset about it. If anything, this should get you excited. Like, oh, wow, people are still interested in my medium. Well, they really didn't want that. They like watching the industry shrink because then they get more control over it. But then they also complain about the fact that they don't have health insurance and they don't make much money. It's funny to watch them. It's like they run around in circles and they don't know what they're upset about. But this should get people excited, and it shows people that comic books are still very much alive. All right, this is an industry you can come into and make some money and live. You can have a life. You don't have to worry. You don't have to eat peanuts. You don't have to share an apartment with 30 people. You can actually have a life and do them. Not if DC Comics has anything to say about it. I saw this. Look at this. So DC Comics is like, Berserker, huh? Not on my watch. They put something like this out. Talked about this on my live stream, and a few other people have talked about it. I just want to show this. This is the problem with comic book industry right here. They have this book coming out, Wonder Women of History, right? And I don't have a problem with this. You want to celebrate, women of history, women that have done things, like Serena Williams is on there, and a few other people. That's fine. The problem here is they're very selective in the women they pick, and they make sure to celebrate women of one political side of the aisle, right? They don't celebrate any women that are conservative. It's only leftist women. This is a problem with the comic book industry because this is all they've been doing it got worse when Trump got in, but even before then, they were kind of doing this, celebrating only women of one part of the political spectrum, which is all this book does. And it's like, look there here. The lasso compels truth, but it can't stop mansplaining. I know what will. She goes in and punches him. I guess this is supposed to be Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, or however you say her name. I believe that's supposed to be her. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this DC just fired a bunch of people. They called it the DC bloodbath. I covered this. And then this comes out. I mean, this is a joke. How well is this really going to sell? This isn't going to get people to come to the comic book industry. This is going to get people to come to comics. This isn't. Okay, and they fail to realize this, and I don't know why they keep doubling down on this. Maybe, they're still used to having no restrictions before AT&T bought them. AT&T has already cut down DC Comics pretty heavily, and it's going to continue to get cut down with stuff like this coming out. Okay? Nobody wants to read about Wonder Woman stopping mansplaining and this stuff. This is such a joke. And I just don't understand how this keeps getting approved and put out. I don't get it. You're going to drive the industry into the ground. This is how you make money. This is how you lose money. And it's even more shown here. So this has been going around on Twitter. Comic Perch here, sharing some pictures of him and his daughter going to Barnes & Nobles. And he makes a really good point here. And I've made this as well in a video once where I went to a Barnes & Nobles and I showed just how great the manga section is. So check this out. In Barnes & Nobles, the comics graphic novel section is down to 5 shelves. Manga has expanded to 2 sides with 20 shelves. In the graphic novel section, half are indies and are not Marvel, DC, or Image. It's eye-opening, the changing marketplace. Now, what do you think about that, too? That's a really good point. Half of the graphic novel section is indie comics. Look at these pictures. So here's graphic novels. This is it. This is actually larger than the one that I went to be honest. And I've pointed this out before. It's such a mess, too. Like, Where do you begin? Which Superman book do I buy? Because it's not just Superman 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's like Superman over 80 years. There's no easy way to jump into this. But that's not really the total point of this video. The point is that this is shrinking. Marvel and DC doesn't have as much stock here, and no one really seems to care about it. But then you go to manga, and look at people shopping there right now. Look at this. There's a woman right here randomly looking. See anybody looking at the graphic novel stuff? I'm just kind of pointing that out. But look at how the manga, all right, and it's so organized and clean. And I've made this point before. Oh, okay, I want to get into this series. What do I buy? Well, I buy the number 1. It's not confusing. It's clean and organized. But that's a small point. This is a thriving industry, okay? And people are drawn to it. There truly is something for everybody. And then you have this mess. This mess. And it's more than that. But check this out here. You get this one. My daughter immediately goes to what she wants. Several men and women, more women in the manga area browsing. And she grabs a One Piece. Okay, well, I've already read 86, 87, and 88. Time to pick up 90. My daughter is so thrilled and mildly embarrassed by this response to this too. Both of my girls love One Piece, read manga, play the game. World Seeker isn't the best, and have models of the Going Merry and Thousand Sunny in their rooms, by far their favorite. I guess the point here is manga, while they aren't American comics, they're still pretty much the same. They're not, I'm going to piss some people off with this, but they're the same, but they're not the same, if you get what I'm saying. The point is it's a visual medium with storytelling. And the fact that manga is growing, and you have like this Berserker comic here thriving, and let's not forget about all the Comicscape books like Cyberfrog and so on and so on. All of these books make money. It tells me that there's still a lot of interest in comic book storytelling in the visual medium like that. All right, but if you keep pushing stuff like this, all right, this is going to kill it. And you're going to give all of the market share to the Japanese market. They're going to bring all the stuff over here. And then, indie comics. Like, crowdfunding is probably the future because you can actually get your ideas done and you don't have to bow down to some, like, weirdo political editorial department that's not going to let you tell the story because it's not progressive enough. They just don't seem to give a damn about money. All they care about is the background and the ethnicity of a character. Like, you have this, like, okay, we made Kamala Khan the leader of the Avengers game or whatever. How exciting. Like, this doesn't get people pumped up because she's, got a certain ethnic background or she has a certain religion that she worships. That's not what people care about. Okay, if Kamala Khan was a popular character, and she's not, her comic books never sell, but they keep pushing them, and they keep pushing them because of political agenda. And nothing in this article is going to get people pumped up to go buy a Kamala Khan comic. Okay, I don't know why she's so popular. All you're telling me here is that she's a Muslim American Pakistani hero. Great. What else does she do? Like, that's not what people care about, and they just don't get it. Or maybe they do really get it, and they just want to die on this hill, and they want to use their platform to push politics and identity politics and all this stuff, and they're willing to take the comic book industry down with it. I don't know. All I know is I see stuff like this, and it tells me that the medium is very much alive. I see stuff like this. It tells me people still want comics. People still want these stories, but they're not getting them from the main two comic book publishers. There's some books, and I'm not saying they're all bad. There's a couple good mainstream American comics right now. Venom, Batman, Thor's pretty good, Power Rangers. But it's very few compared to like the amount that there is. Like, Marvel literally puts out hundreds of books a month, or however many. I'm exaggerating a little bit. They put out a lot of comics, and only like 3 or 4 of them are good out of like 100. It's a joke. There's some that are okay, but there's none that's great. You know, there's very few that are great. Got a lot of mediocre, okay, good stuff. But anyway, that's my point. Is just like, when is this gonna stop? When will you give people what you want? I think comics really could bounce back, but yeah, not until you get the rot out. And I don't know how you get the rot out. It's still there, and it's not stopping. So I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about all this. I'd like to hear what you think. Also, throw a like up, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.
You can't stop me, I'm a Jedi from Jakku.